Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today should be an exciting day. I will be building a makeshift paint booth in my shop. Now, if you've been following along with this channel for long enough, you'd remember back when I lived in Phoenix, I used an inflatable paint booth, and because it was always too hot to paint outside, I got one that was the perfect size to fit inside my shop. Now, when I moved to Spokane, my plan was to do basically the same thing, use an inflatable paint booth inside of this portion of my shop. The problem is, the vehicles that I've started to build are a little bit too large to fit inside of an inflatable paint booth, like the custom ice cream truck that I am currently working on. So let me show you what my current plan is. So I'm still planning on using this section of the shop for paint, but instead of having a mobile paint booth that I can roll out and then inflate whenever I need to use it, the plan is to have a curtain that pulls out from this wall all the way down here, goes out 30 feet, 15 feet across here, and then all the way back another 30 feet. That gives me 450 square feet and then 16 feet high walls to be able to paint in here. Now I can also do body work in here if I'm going to be doing a bunch of grinding or a bunch of sanding to help keep the dust to a minimum. In order to get the gases out, the plan is to roll up the garage door, have a board that fits into the bottom there with a couple of ports, and then have two explosion-proof fans on the outside to pull those gases away. Now, in order to install these curtains, I've already installed a railing up at the top here. You see it goes out the full 30 feet, and then we've got a nice little sweeping bend right there, over to here where there's another sweeping bend, and then 30 feet back. Let me tell you, installing those 16 feet in the air was a huge pain. I had to enlist the help of my wife, and we had kind of a complicated pulley system where she would pull up one side, and then I would install the other, and then I'd have to go back, and then we repeated that forever, but we finally got them installed, and today I just got a shipment of the last item needed in order to make this work. So let me show that to you now. All right, these are the curtains that we are going with. These are made by a company called Acon. They were super helpful with this whole process. I called them up, told them what I was building, gave them the dimensions. They recommended that I go with a 32-foot curtain on the 30-foot wall and then a 16-foot curtain on the 15-foot wall so that there would be just enough slack so that everything can connect together. Now, these are connected with Velcro to make sure everything is sealed. And then this bottom section here, this black piece is a 6-inch removable piece that Velcros to the rest of the curtain, and that is designed to sit at the bottom to help keep the dust from sneaking through. There's one other feature that I like. You see this little clear section here. There's a 4-foot window in the entire curtain, which will make it a lot easier to help light get in. Also, it'll give a nice little viewing area for my family to watch me paint. I'll look like a little animal in the zoo. So let's get these in the house. Well, would you look at that timing? We just got our two explosion-proof fans and the flexible ductwork. Guys, this is crazy. The UPS guy just showed up to deliver my new lights. These are going to be installed in these empty sections right here. And then I am planning on making a couple mounts for these so that I can have a few of the LEDs standing up like so that I can move them around the projects. I want to get as much light into this paint booth as possible. That was very cool. If the delivery guys would have all showed up at the same time, we might have had a battle royale, but luckily they staggered them so there was no blood spilled. All right, we've got the curtain hanging up. I think it came out fantastic. And you might notice it is a little bit brighter in here, and that is because I've also got those lights installed. I have them hooked up to a remote so I can turn them on or off depending on whether or not I am painting. The next step is going to be getting these fans installed. Now, unfortunately, they come without an outlet, so I'm going to have to head over to the hardware store to pick up a couple of those, and then I can start the process for building some type of a contraption over here to get the air out without letting any air back in. All right, we've got the curtain up, we have the wood installed at the bottom, and we have both fans ready to go. So my hope is that the air will come in from the very top here, fill up this room when I turn the fan on, It'll suck all the air right out the bottom. In order to test my little theory, I've got my smoke machine here with these cool guy lights on the front. It is heating up at the moment. As soon as this is nice and warm, I'll push that little button. We will get this room filled up with as much smoke as we can possibly fill it with, and then I will turn on both of those fans and we will see how well it evacuates all of the smoke. Now, my biggest concern is that we will have some little pocket of this whole room here that will end up with kind of just tumbling smoke that it doesn't quite evacuate. Perhaps the air will come in from the top and it will just go shoof right out over here. So maybe this area will end up continuing to be smoky. If that ends up being the case, we can always seal up the top, open up that other garage door a little bit, and then perhaps open up at the Velcro here, or maybe both, in order to see if we can get kind of a nice cross flow going. This is really the first in what will probably be a series of tests. Quite frankly, it will probably take me a couple of years to get this room dialed in exactly how I want it, but let's get the smoke machine going and let's see what we've got. All right, guys, this room is looking awfully smoky. I think I'll wait just a second, give it one more round of smoke, see if I can get just a little bit more in there, and then we'll hop in there, turn on that fan. It is kind of cool to see that not too much of this is escaping underneath the bottom, even though we still don't have our chain there. You see that little yellow rope? I will hook a chain up to that, pull it all the way through. It will weight down the bottom, help get rid of some of these little cracks that we've got, but I've got to run out to the hardware store before I can do that. All right, let's hop in here and turn this fan on. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. All right, guys, we are ready to test out this paint booth and do our very first paint job. We've got the truck pulled in. I'm going to be applying an etching primer anywhere that you see bare metal. We've got the fans all set up and ready to go. So let's get this paint mixed and we'll see how well this thing works. All right, guys, so far so good with the paint booth. I am absolutely thrilled with this. There is not the slightest amount of smell being produced right now, either in here or on the other side. I did turn off both of these fans. I had them both going when I was painting. As soon as I stopped painting, obviously I'm not spraying fumes all over the place, so I turned off one of the fans, kept the other one running just to get the last bit of vapors out of here. It seems to be working absolutely perfectly. It is super cold outside. It is snowing right now, but I've got my radiant floor heating going inside to try and keep it as warm as possible. We're at about 62 degrees or so, which is on the cold side of what our etching primer can handle. The next step is going to be shooting the frame and then underneath our engine bay with a black paint. So let's go ahead and do that, because that is really the last major test for our paint booth, because I will be shooting the paint all the way down here. So it will be very interesting to see if those fumes get all the way from here, shoop, right out our door, or if they end up lingering a little bit. It'll also be interesting to see if we do develop any little black film on our curtain here. Hopefully that's not the case, but let's get this thing painted black and then we will be done testing out the paint booth. Guys, there's one more thing I want to show you about the air quality here in the shop. This is an air purifier that I have. It shows me how many parts per million of the 2.5 micron sized pollutants are currently in the air. And if I were spray painting nearby, like right over here, this thing would be at about 350 parts per million. That's how bad it is when you spray paint. It also shows up whenever I'm grinding or welding. Welding, not as bad as grinding. It goes welding and then grinding and then spray paint. That's the worst for this. So the fact that we are at 9 parts per million, which is cleaner than most cities' air is even on a clean day, while this thing is right next to a paint booth that we were just painting in, shows just how clean it is keeping the air. So absolutely fantastic news for our makeshift paint booth. Alright guys, so check this out. We've got all of the black paint done, but you can hear I've got both of these fans going. And on the outside of the paint booth, you can smell that there are some fumes. And then look over here, we are at 105 parts per million. So we are definitely getting some fumage from inside to outside here. You can definitely smell it. But so far it has only been on the black paint, which of course we painted all the way from the front to the back and the entire engine compartment. So the quest to make sure that we're getting all the fumes out of here continues. I'm not sure exactly what I'll do. Well, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes and we are down to 15 parts per million, so I will now turn off one of those fans. So I wanted to show you guys the rest of the paint job on this cab so that you can see how well those fans do at sucking away all of the overspray and the fumes. This setup is way better than the inflatable paint booth that I was using in Phoenix. It is a little bit more expensive. An inflatable paint booth this size would probably run around $3,300 to $3,500, and that would include the elephant trunk with the external filter, which would be required to paint inside of the shop. This setup ended up being around $4,200 all in. That includes the curtains, everything required to hang the curtains, the lights, and the fan. Now, I'm under no illusions that this is a proper commercial paint booth. I am well aware that this is somewhere in between painting in your garage with a box fan and an actual paint booth, but the reality was I just don't paint enough to justify the cost of a true paint booth, but I did need something that was better than just painting outside or painting in the shop. So this is the setup I decided on, and I couldn't be happier. So if you guys would like to see the rest of that pink truck getting built, I am turning that into a custom ice cream truck. You can find that on my channel in the video section, or there is a complete playlist for it. If you have any ideas for anything I can do to this paint booth to make it work better or be more efficient, I'm open to those suggestions. I was thinking about adding a filter system up at the top because I anticipated some bugs or dirt getting in from just the way the fans were set up, but I haven't had any issues at all with that. So unless something changes, I'm probably not going to modify it too much, but I'm definitely open to suggestions if you guys have any. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.